Hello there. Let me show you how to use Holele to search if an email address is being used on many internet websites, social media platforms, etc. This is a tool in the category of OSINT, Open Source Intelligence. Let's do that. And what I always say, this is only for educational purposes. Do not use it for the wrong reasons, with ill intent, etc. Okay, so the tool is available on GitHub, like many other open source software these days. And essentially, what I'm going to be doing is following the instructions on the README file. So here it says that you need to clone the code. So one requirement is to have Git. And then you can run the Python install, or you can use the Docker container. And I will always prefer the Docker container. So let's go that route. First, let's clone the code. I'm changing directory. You can see. Okay, so let's try the Docker option. Essentially, it says we need to do Docker build that. So here we're saying Docker build the image, use the tag myHolele. So hit enter. This is going to take a few seconds, and perhaps while that is running in the background, I can show you the content of the Docker file. It's using a Python 3.11 base image, slim, without the fat, the dependencies of a bigger distribution or version. Copying all the files on this folder into the opt holele directory, and then running Python 3 setup install. So the same that you could run on your PC is running on the container. Okay, so that has completed. So the next step is running this command. So docker run using the same tag that we used to create the image, and then an email address that you want to verify if it exists, if there's an account for in the 120 so platform that are part of the project. Now, I don't run the command literally how it's on the README file. I like to add rm, which is this is telling Docker that once the command completes, you'll remove the container. Otherwise, you have dangling containers and pollutes your system. And the other flag that I use is it to allocate an interactive, or well, it doesn't need to be interactive, so a console. And this is so that it can render the colors in the right way. So otherwise the output is going to show in black and white. So let's do that. And you see there are a couple of problems. So first one, this is not the response does not have an attribute JSON. So I found this problem before, and the way to solve it is going to the pull request. Somebody found this problem before and fix it. So here, update version checker to load JSON response. Okay, this is perhaps the most complicated part to make it work. So what I did was, all the pull requests in GitHub can be seen as a git patch if you add the .patch at the end. So now I can download this patch and apply it. Once I apply the patch, you can see the Holele core Python file has been changed. Now it's using the text attribute, loading the JSON, blah, blah, blah. So that's the first fix. I need to build the image again. So I do docker build. And this is the first of two problems that we're going to see. But it's important if you want to use it this way. The second problem is related to dependencies that are missing on the Docker container. So one is the request library in Python and the HTTPX as well. But yeah, let's run it again, see what happens. Okay, yep, the previous error went away. So the error related to JSON attribute is no longer there. Now we have this other issue. So again, I'm going to create a requirements file. I'm going to add that library that is missing, as well as this other that I know is going to be asking for next. Okay, and then I need to modify the Docker file to copy the requirement file and then to install it with pip install requirements. I think that's all we need. So let's give it a go and see what happens. And to build again, is now running that command that I added, pip install requirements. Okay. So the pip install completed fine. And it's now doing the rest, which is Python setup install. And yep, that worked. Let's see if we can run the command. Yep, bingo. So you can see here the progress. 6 of 123 websites have been checked with that email address that I gave to the command. And the colors you see, green, the email is being used on that platform. In pink, the email is not being used on that platform. In orange, we hit a rate limit. So those websites are blocking the request because it's receiving too many requests of this type or from this IP. And in red, requests that have completed with errors. By the way, this tool relies on the forget password functionality of those websites. So if the forget password functionality move URLs or change the form in some way, etc., then this application breaks. So they need to update it in a very regular basis. But this is how it works. And by the way, if I show you the same without the -t, you're going to see what I mentioned before about the colors. Now you see the output in color. If I remove the -t, then it's just going to be black and white. And that's going to be all for today. Hope you like it and you find it useful. Thank you very much. Bye bye.